The spring evening was calm, with a light breeze rustling through the trees in the garden. The sun had dipped below the horizon, leaving behind an orange glow in the sky. Garrett leaned back in his old wooden chair, stretching out his legs as he poured himself a glass of 18-year-old whiskey on the rocks. The metallic clink of ice against glass broke the silence. He took a sip, savoring the cold liquid sliding down his throat. This was their favorite time, just the two of them enveloped by tranquility. But tonight something felt off. Meredith wasn't her usual self. Her gaze didn't wander into the distance as it often did. Instead, her fingers nervously played with the hem of her dress, and she avoided meeting his eyes for too long. Garrett noticed but chose to brush it aside, assuming she was simply tired. Minutes passed, yet her unease lingered. There was an unspoken tension in her posture, hinting that this wasn't going to be an ordinary night. A knot formed in Garrett's stomach, an inexplicable fear creeping over him. His peaceful moment seemed fragile, as if it might shatter at any second. That's when Meredith finally spoke, her voice calm but heavy with emotion. "I need to talk to you." "Go ahead," Garrett replied, trying to mask his growing anxiety. She hesitated, searching for the right words or perhaps summoning the courage to say them. Each second stretched endlessly until she finally looked him in the eye and said without hesitation, "I'm in love with someone else." Garrett froze. Time seemed to stop. The gentle rustle of leaves faded, the orange glow in the sky dimmed, and the taste of whiskey turned bitter in his mouth. His chest tightened as though the ground beneath him had vanished. Barely recognizing his own voice, he managed to ask, "What?" Meredith's tone remained steady, devoid of guilt or regret. "It's not cheating, it's a feeling that kept growing, something I couldn't stop." Garrett laughed dryly, hoping against hope that this was some cruel joke. But her determined gaze told him otherwise. "You're kidding, right?" he asked weakly. "No, Garrett. I thought about this for a long time before saying anything," she admitted. "This isn't sudden. It's real." "How long?" he pressed, his voice barely above a whisper. Her pause was answer enough. Anger and disbelief surged within him. "Of course it matters. You cheated on me. How can you act like it doesn't?" "It wasn't cheating," she countered, her composure faltering slightly. "It was something else entirely." Silence settled between them, thick and unbearable. Finally, Meredith murmured, "I never wanted it to happen like this." Garrett let out a humorless laugh. "Then why did you do it?" Her response came colder than he expected. "Because I don't love you anymore." Those words hit him like a punch to the gut. A dull ache spread through his chest as if someone were squeezing his heart. He wanted to argue to deny her claim, but deep down he knew it wouldn't change anything. Meredith had already made up her mind, and there was no turning back. The next morning brought sunlight streaming into the bedroom, but Garrett woke to find Meredith gone. Her side of the bed was untouched, and her closet stood empty. Only the faint scent of her perfume lingered in the air, slowly fading away. In the kitchen he found an envelope waiting for him. Inside were divorce papers, cold, impersonal documents demanding his signature. No letter, no explanation, no apology. Just a formal end to years of shared memories. His phone rang shortly after. It was Meredith's attorney's office, reminding him to sign the papers promptly. Garrett agreed to visit the law firm later that day, though anger simmered beneath his surface. When he arrived, Meredith was already seated at the conference table, looking composed and unaffected. As Garrett reviewed the documents, his lawyer, Spencer, pulled him aside. "There's something you should know," Spencer whispered. "Meredith gave up most of the assets, including your cabin in the mountains." Confused, Garrett frowned. "That old place? Why does it matter?" Spencer smirked. "Because developers are building a luxury ski resort nearby. Your property is now worth millions." Garrett's mind raced. Meredith had no idea what she'd given away. Part of him wanted to confront her, but another part decided to let it go. He signed the papers, officially ending their marriage. Walking out of the law firm, Garrett felt strangely numb. The city buzzed around him, but he felt disconnected, like a spectator in his own life. Eventually he wandered into a small bar called the Rusty Nail. The smell of aged wood and whiskey greeted him, offering a sense of comfort. At the bar he met Olivia Carter, an assistant attorney who had worked on Meredith's team during the divorce proceedings. Unlike her professional demeanor in court, Olivia seemed more genuine here. They struck up a conversation, sharing stories of heartbreak and healing. Hours flew by unnoticed, and eventually Olivia leaned in and kissed him, a slow, uncertain kiss full of possibility. For the first time since Meredith left, Garrett felt alive again. Weeks later, Garrett learned the true value of the mountain cabin. Developers offered him $12 million for the land. Suddenly he was free, not just from his failed marriage but also financially secure. With Olivia by his side, he decided to travel the world, embracing life fully. As they explored new places together, Garrett realized how far he'd come. One day, a friend sent him a message. Meredith's relationship with her younger partner had ended badly. When she approached Garrett, hoping for reconciliation, he declined. He had moved on. In the end, Garrett understood that sometimes, endings pave the way for beautiful beginnings.